Hey guys, it's Ethan. You're gonna watch a really cool edited video in which I talked about a bunch of video games I want to play, a bunch of, and my lighting situation. I didn't check it correctly when I went to go film that, and so my green screen, which is on the floor behind me, kind of pull it up, uh, did not get the proper coverage that it needed. So therefore, it's broken a lot in the video. And so if you see the green screen kind of flare up behind me, that is intentional because the alternative is worse. So I want you to pretend that you don't see that at all. Just pretend you don't see it, because if I keyed it out a second time, then parts of me disappear, and that's no bueno. So just pretend that that's good, and like and subscribe. And now here's Ethan with more hair. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to S-Rank. It's the only home of video games, as you know. My name is Ethan. This is as a bonus Summer of PS3 video I'm putting up here. I think it's the end of June when I'm posting this. I think the last day of June. This isn't the last day of June, and I haven't edited this part out, then you must find it funny because I left it in as a joke. I wanted to talk about some PlayStation 3 games today. We're not playing any. This is just me talking to you. If there's footage, it may or may not be my footage. It'll say if it's not. If folks are aware, if they've watched this channel before, they would know that I'm a huge trophy hunting fanatic. I love getting platinum trophies in video games. I love getting them in the games I love a lot. It's almost like a required mandate. I have this overarching goal of having to platinum every single Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, and Metal Gear video game. And some of them are still on PlayStation 3. Some are on PS4, and there's PS5 versions of some of them coming out still. And I need to do them all, and I don't actually know anymore how I'm going to do that if I were to do it as stuff on this channel. But putting them aside, I also wanted to sit down and as an exercise to myself and also to talk to you. 10, now 11, but 10 games that I must platinum before Sony inevitably shuts down the PlayStation Network on the PlayStation 3. It is going to happen one day. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen within the next few years. But don't quote me on that, because who knows? Jim Ryan tried to shut it down. Everyone yelled at that dude. I almost called him a really bad name. I'm sure developers have found worse names for him, as he's destroyed many lives. But he also almost made the PlayStation 3 and Vita stores obsolete, which would have hampered people's ability to buy games. Hint, there's a game I purchased after that shutdown date was supposed to happen. Fortunately, we reversed that, but inevitably, one day, you will no longer be able to legally go onto the PlayStation Network with your PlayStation 3. And when that happens, you won't be able to sync trophies anymore. Folks, again, no, I'm a huge PlayStation trophy hunter, and statistically, if you're watching this, you probably are too. I'm going to talk about 10, now it's 11, games that I want to platinum before they do shut down these servers. There's more than 11. There's any more than 11, but these are the 11 that I must do. If I can't do these 11, and you can't see, but just below the screen cuts off here, I'm slapping a stack of Blu-ray cases of PlayStation. You can maybe you can hear them. That's me slapping the cases. If I don't platinum these games before this crazy futuristic date that I hope is so far out there, if I can't platinum these before, I will die a failure. And statistically, you will too. Let's begin. Now, this one was my 10th, and then I remembered a game that was digital only. That is number 10. And I wanted to slip that in there, and I have that above this one. So this is an honorary mention. This is number 11. And the only reason why I'm really talking about this now and not just committing to the 10 and not this one is because I already made that thumbnail, and this one's in the thumbnail. It's Persona 4 Arena by Atlas and Arc System Works. They're the actual devs on this. Super cool video game. I love Persona 4. It is the only Persona game worth playing, only Persona game worth experiencing. And any of the Persona stuff that had come after the number 4, all garbage. All worthless garbage. Persona 4 Arena actually continues that story, and I think that's really cool. And this is on my list because this is an extremely hard game to platinum. There are plenty of fighting games, before the PlayStation 3 and many, many more after the PlayStation 3. But in this specific era of fighting games, especially the early ones on the system, you would see trophy lists, and I guess this is true for all games, really, but especially true for fighting games. You would see games whose trophy lists would be so astronomically time-consuming and have a high skill barrier to do because, I'm sure the thinking was, hey, if you want to platinum this game, this is a big deal. If you want to do this, you're going to have to show that you can do it. And over time, I think whether developers realize, hey, no one gives a shit, we don't give a shit, do we really want to go through all these hoops to plan out and develop super hard lists? That's a waste of our time, waste of our players' time. And who knows, maybe a game that is relatively easy to platinum might convince someone to keep the game longer, especially if it's a multiplayer thing, and perhaps they'll tell a friend to buy it too, and maybe these will sell better because of that. But this game, and this isn't the only fighting game in this top 11, top 10, but this is a fighting game that has an extremely hard amount of time-consuming, high-skill difficulty trophies. Fighting game characters will have, in many of these games, combo trials. This is a game that says you gotta do them all. That in and of itself is a pain in the ass. There's all the story stuff and running through on arcade modes and higher difficulties and whatnot. I did last year, and I don't have footage of this because I wasn't, streaming this or anything like that. I did last year play this game and many other fighting games, including the ones that also might be in this video. I played them online, did some boosting sessions with some folks on psnprofiles.com, and I have all of the multiplayer trophies done in many fighting games, and specifically focusing on PS3 ones in the inevitable collapse of the infrastructure that supports their ability to sync trophies and play games online. This game was one of them, so I have all of those trophies done, and it was a lot. This is low on my list because ultimately, and technically it's not in the top 10, but maybe I can get away with saying maybe I can live with myself if I don't platinum this one because this is so hard. But this is such a cool game to play and has such a great style to it, and there are characters I like a lot. There are some characters that aren't Persona 4 guys in here that I don't really care about at all, but this is a good one. I will platinum this game. Will I do it on this channel? I'd probably not. Next up, our only digital title. I get to do a Devin thumbnail thing now and be like, should I do it like this? Yeah, I'm gonna do it this, which is this hand here. Oh wait, I'm not posing. It's called Wizardry, Labyrinth of Lost Souls. Ooh, it's moving. Yeah, this is a digital only title. This is the last, and to my knowledge, the last new, not remake, but new Wizardry game to release stateside. And it's on the PlayStation 3 and the Vita, but not in America. The Vita version isn't in America. The Japanese version is, which is disappointing because I would play this game twice. I don't actually have any trophies in this game yet. I played it a bunch, but all of the trophies seem to be giant capstone end-of-game stuff, and while you will be spending dozens and dozens and dozens of hours in this, dungeon crawler that you have to meticulously be careful about, it is a wizardry game. It's so neat, and hey, there's something about just being like, man, I want to cheese an RPG. There's many RPGs that let you cheese them in different ways, grinding in spots that are maybe more efficient for your time or whatever, but something about rolling up in a wizardry game and just hitting back and forward into the menus over and over again to re-roll a character and be like, can I have a character that has the maximum number of points to spend on stats, so I'm rolling with the team that are juiced from the start. Screw the D&D honor rules of being like, well, that's what the dice said, so I guess I guess I don't have many points. No, fuck that. We're getting all the points. And so I have a crew, and we're rolling through this dungeon, and there's DLC for this game as well. I don't know if I'm gonna accomplish all of that, but this trophy list is one where I easily look at this, and I'm like, you know what? This game right here, certainly platinumable, and because there really isn't any new wizardry stuff. Atari Digital Eclipse through Atari or Atari through Digital Eclipse, one or the other, did that like graphical remake of the original game, still running on the Apple II source code. I need to buy that. I've been waiting to get a physical copy of it, and then never seeing one for that isn't full price. So I've been holding off. But I think Atari just recently bought the rights to a lot of the older ones. I think so. Like maybe they'll do some more remasters, but there's a Japanese company that still owns this title, and they put it on Steam recently. So that's actually probably a much better way to play this than on the PlayStation 3. Put on your Steam Deck. Oh man, playing that game portably that isn't on a tiny little Vita screen. I like my Vita. Right, I'm literally reaching for my Vita now as proof because I have it on hand. I like my Vita, fine. But this is not a great way to play video games. I'm sorry. It's not a great way to play video games. It's an okay way to play some games. Not a great way to play a lot of games. Wizardry. Labyrinth of Lost Souls. That will be on my list. I need to do it. Okay. This next game is a game that we actually streamed last year. It was a part of Summer PS3 last year. It capped off Wonderbook Week. No, it wasn't a Wonderbook game. Although I kind of should platinum all of those. There's only 4, and it would just be an annoying setup day to do. But like, I should probably do them. All those streams are on the channel. Go ahead and watch them. The dinosaur one gets a lot of hits because I don't think that there's any good long plays of that game on YouTube. I don't know. I'm not a dinosaur guy. That's Devin. But to end off Wonderbook Week, we took a look at another PlayStation Eye game that used the camera to look at a thing on your desk or on the floor, and that is The Eye of Judgment for PlayStation 3. This is an interesting one, and folks can watch that stream as I learned how to play that game for the first time. But this is an interesting one because in order to platinum this game, you need to buy the DLC for it. Whether or not Sony had that guideline in place saying, "Hey, you can't force someone to buy anything else in order to platinum the game you are selling." Being able to buy the game alone, or if it's a free to play game, just without spending any money, you should be able to platinum the game. Whether or not that guideline was in place before or after this game came out, and it requires it. I think this was a part of, and I might be wrong here, releases of games that released before trophies were a thing and then got patched in afterwards, like Uncharted, for instance. So it's very possible that this is made by Sony themselves in a partnership with Wizards of the Coast. I don't know who the exact studio that developed it is. They are right here. This is their name. Thank you for your service. Because I like this game. I like this game a lot. It was a pain in the ass to get it to work, unfortunately. I have a lot of different lights around here. I have the ability to finely adjust their luminance and whatever, and even the colors, how warm or cool they are, in order to get that camera to see all of the cards on the mat at the same time for a long enough period to not have to constantly and it's a cloth map, which I obviously get, and I had all brand new stuff. I had brand new camera from that, brand new, I opened up a sealed copy of the game. I had a video of that too, and I scrapped it because it kind of sucked, the box opening of it. But all that stuff was brand new. I printed out one of every single card on nice, good stock paper, cut them exact. Well, not with scissors, but with a paper cutter. I did all of that jazz. They are out of reach, but they are in sight. I can see them right there, right over there. My green screen doesn't carry all the way over, but it's all the way over there somewhere. Pain in the ass to play, just to get to work. But it was a lot of fun once I got the hang of it, and I played some more after that summer PS3 stream I did last year. And I've always intended on finishing the job. Halo 3 finished the fight, and I will one of these days. I will get down to it because I think it is neat to be able to platinum a game that required buying DLC, which I did, and just the whole. I love gimmicks. You know, when a console comes out and you see like, oh well, you need to buy this, or you need to buy, here's this accessory, or here's, you know, all these things. Like in the moment you look at the value proposition of something and you're like, it's not worth it. In hindsight, when all that stuff is removed, when you can get the brand new thing I think I bought was like maybe $25 sealed with the PlayStation camera and the stand and all that jazz, off of eBay, like that was cheap. The best, I always use the Sega Saturn as an example of a library, a video game library that like we look at in hindsight and are like, the Sega Saturn rules, but like take yourself back to the mid 90s. You half those games you were not in your country, you know what I mean, in the first place. All the good games for the most part weren't here. And it was just like it was a lot of money for a lot of stuff. Were you really going to be investing all that? It's easy to be like, yeah, I have them all on a hard drive. It's easy these days. And so when I looked last year at PlayStation Move, I was like, oh man, there's a lot of cool games. This PlayStation Eye camera, yeah, it kind of sucks, but whatever. It was cheap, I think. I don't know what the price was. I have like 4 of them. And one of them came with not this copy of the game. I have a thing right here. I have it in another room, the sealed copy that came with it, because I did own another copy of this game as a kid, and bootlegged cards then too, because that's what you do. They were black and white at the time, though. I think I maybe green sharpied in, green highlighted in on the cards for the barcode thing that they read. But looking at the PlayStation Move library and be like, all these games are worth trying. They're all super cheap on eBay. But at the time, it was like, why the fuck would I buy any of this stuff? Besides having the psychic foresight to be like, they're going to reuse these controllers for the PlayStation VR and charge $100 for 2 of them. Get them now while they're cheap at GameStop. So this game is fun. And I wish that this gimmick of real life cards that a camera read somehow was able to still exist. You know what I mean? Financially be feasible for a company to do. But I digress. Next up on the list, another fighting game, and another game case that is, boy, this game case is real beat up here. I got scratches on the top up here. It is Street Fighter 4. Yay! Yes, the original vanilla release, the 2009 release of Street Fighter 4. This game's really good. Obviously, I don't need to go into history here, but Street Fighter 4, more or less, not giving 100% credit, but more or less revitalized the fighting game scene, and convinced publishers, companies to make fighting games again. Capcom both is kind of responsible for the death of fighting games and the rebirth of fighting games in that sense, and this is just a good one. This is a good time. I remember seeing this. This was my first Street Fighter. I had, I guess, seen or known of the characters, but this was the first one I had ever played, and it was a blast. It was a huge blast. And like Persona 4 Arena, this game also extremely hard trophy list. They would dumb it down a bit with Super Street Fighter 4's trophy list, which I'm not gonna go ahead and platinum. Only one version is enough for me. But still, this is a game where you need to do all the combo trials for every character, and this game had the unfortunate aspect of insane online multiplayer trophies to go for. Now, in this day and age, it's peer-to-peer, so there's nothing for Capcom to shut down server-wise, but in this day and age, you will find the one person who you are trying to play with if you are trying to coordinate with someone for this game, and so I did my 512 wins, and I did my 100 game finishers in this way, and this way, and this and that. Had a large group of people. We all went for it. One dude's PlayStation 3 died or something like that, and he lost his save, and I don't know if that dude ever started back up again. God bless him. Hope he did. This one's for you. when I platinum this game, before I die, before the PlayStation 3 dies forever, this one will be for you. All right. Next up on the list. Okay. This game's a good one. This one is a game that, in hindsight, people are like, yeah, I mean, like, that's the best one, really. And I am one of these people who are like, that's the best one. I guess in hindsight, yes, but I wasn't playing these games when they were coming out, releasing, and being in the moment relevant. Although this game will always be relevant to my heart, it is Dark Souls 2. So now here's the thing. I already have the platinum for this game. Not technically this game, but the Scholar of the First Sin re-release on PlayStation 4. I have that game platinumed. Now I also have, and it is not within arm's reach, I should have grabbed both cases, I do have the PlayStation 3 release of Scholar of the First Sin, but that version of the game is not the same as the PlayStation 4 version. PS4 version took this game and it remixed it. It moved enemies around. It kind of changed the flow of where you're going to a degree. I think that's the only version I've really played. I picked this up a little bit, but that's the one that I actually platinumed and finished. The PS3 version of Scholar of the First Sin was the DLC collection. Hey, there were 3 DLCs. They were actually really good. And this is not this, but the other one that's behind me out there, wherever that is. I haven't decided what video is going to be behind me. But wherever that is, floating out there, I think I'm gonna put. I think is it a beach? Is that the ocean? Out there is my other copy, and this is a really good game. I really love the desolate nature of this game. This has the best kind of atmosphere on that kind of dead world dread that the trilogy was going for. I think this is the best one. It has the most friction. It has the best as an antagonistic multiplayer in the trilogy, and I just really like this game. I really like how you can understand its systems and break it. You know, you can skip the first half of the game if you just grind, and I think that's neat. I think that's really cool. This game definitely going to be one that I platinum again before the PlayStation 3 shuts down. Not on the list is the original Dark Souls. I like this one more. This one need to be in a top 10 over that one. I will also do the original Dark Souls. You know. All right. Next up. I don't know. How do I want to present this? Should I just go like this? It is Ico HD. Yes, Ico. Yes, from Fumita Ueda, PlayStation 2 Classic. I own a copy of that game. On PlayStation 2, and this is how I first played the game, was in this HD collection here between this and some other game. I don't know what the other game is. It doesn't matter. But Ico, beautiful game, and relatively, as far as trophy hunting goes, straightforward and simple. You're probably going to be playing it a couple times, but if I were to make a list of iconic PlayStation 2 titles, Ico is in that. And because there's a way to get a platinum trophy in a version of that game, I got to do it. I haven't played Ico HD since this collection released, so I will be starting fresh. And this is one that I think I might do as some sort of content. Ugh, I hate that word. Some sort of video on this channel. I might do this one. I might do it. Okay, setting that aside. Next up, our last fighting game. I know, 3 fighting games in a top 11, 2 in a top 10. It's a fifth of the list of a top 10. I like the absurdity of this game's list, despite this one being technically easier than the other 2 fighting games that we've done. I love the absurdity of it. It's Dead or Alive 5. Now, I have a stream series here on this channel called Dead or Alive or whatever, in which I'm playing through the arcade modes and story modes of every single Dead or Alive release. I gotta find a way to make that stream series faster within my schedule, because eventually we will get to this game and play through its story mode. At least, I will play through its story mode again, but we will experiencing the story mode of this game. This has all of those combo trials shenanigans that the other 2 games on the list here have as well. I also love, again, online multiplayer trophies. This is a later PS3 release, but still, online multiplayer trophies in fighting games tend to be extreme. You need to do a whole bunch of this or that. I talked about 512 wins in Street Fighter 4, and while that one was more complicated than this one, the absurdity of needing to play 1,000 matches is just so funny to me. There was a way to cheese it. I do own 2 copies of this game. I do own 3 PlayStation 3s. I may or may not set 2 of them just to idle, because there was a way to do, soon, like a time. Hey, the game ended. It was a timeout because they're idling, and then it's automatically choosing a retry feature, and then you just start the thing back up. It's slow. It's slower than beating, the opponent. But I did it. There were other online multiplayer stuff left to do for trophies with other people, but yeah, this was a good one. This is a fun game. This is actually the Dead or Alive game that got me into the series. It actually got me into wanting to play all of them, because this was the game that I discovered the parrying mechanics, holding, as they call it. And I love the fact that there's high-low, and there's, just so many different ways you have to hold punches and kicks differently. It makes the game really, really risk-reward like, and made me respect the series more than I have done. This is also the game that would spawn Tecmo's, or I guess maybe Koei Tecmo's, idea that, hey, what if we sell hundreds of dollars worth of DLC costumes? This is probably, value-wise, more than anything Fortnite's ever done. And it's in Dead or Alive 5. It's a good game, though. Okay. Next up, I've talked about other games made by this developer. It should be no shock that obviously I'm going to put this one up here. This is a game that I learned to love so much later in life than when it initially came out, because I did play this one on the PlayStation 3 back in the day, and it is Demon's Souls. I have showed this story somewhere. I've told this story somewhere. I don't know if it was on content or not, but I got this game. I heard it was really good. I remember listening to IGN's PlayStation podcast, and their news editor was guesting on it. He was talking about this game, Demon's Souls, and how awesome it is, how much he loved it so much. And he had said that it was possible if you bought a European and a Japanese copy of the game, as well as your North American copy here, your ESRB, you could platinum the game 3 times, because the trophies are the same, but they're 3 separate instances of the list. And so, hey, you play through this game, you master this game, you're going to be able to do it without the language barrier. But you don't even need to know Japanese, because you can turn on English text, and the voice acting is all in English anyway, if that mattered to you on repeat playthroughs. This game rules, but at the time, I hear that, I'm like, I heard this game's pretty good. It was cheap. I get the game, I boot up the game, and I had a misconception about how the game operated. I knew it was very difficult. I knew it was very, very challenging. I knew it punished you when you died. I might not have had the tenacity to power through all of that, but if I knew what it actually was like, I might have given it a better shot. When you start this game up, it's in a tutorial area. You're running down a path, and it's teaching you the controls, and there is a big gray demon at the end there who is supposed to kill you. That's supposed to be the final lesson. It's going to be hard, and you'll be fine, but it is going to kill you. If you beat it, you just die anyway. But it's like, hey, good for you, man. And I knew that I had heard that whenever you die, you go back to this hub area, which isn't actually true. You don't go there every time you die, but you're like, you die and you go back to this hub area, and you're a soul, which means you're not. You have to get your body back, and the only way to get your body back is to go into one of the levels in the game, and because you can choose at least your level, your world. You know what I mean? You choose which set of levels to poke at, to kind of pull a thread at if you'd like. And if you kill a boss, then you get your body back. And I was under the impression that the tutorial stint was the game. Like, that was the story that was, like, you need to beat that. Whatever that would have, in my brain, had ultimately led to, I assumed that was like the extent of the actual game itself was through this when you're in human form up here, and then there was an underworld. That's where the hub and all these other levels are. In order to get another shot at the actual game, and you needed to run through one of these other levels and beat a boss to get your body back, just to try the. I had the wrong impression about how the game works, and you go to World 1-1, and I kept dying at that main gate. I kept dying to a dude throwing fireballs. There were crossbow guys or bow and arrow guys. I don't remember what they were around the corner. I kept dying to those guys, and I was like, man, fuck this game. I can't even beat this, let alone have a chance to go back to do the real thing, which I have no practice of. And I gave up, and I swore off this genre, this developer, and all of that. It wasn't until I understood what it was actually like, and I played. It was my launch title. I had a PS5 at launch. Thank you, Wario64. I was able to get my pre-order, and I bought the Demon Souls remake with that pre-order, and I platinumed that game. The game ended up being all right. It was pretty good. I have played a little bit of this PS3 version since, but I need to give it a real attempt to platinum this version as well. I had an idea, and it won't ever happen because I think the logistics of the reality of it would fall apart. But on paper, it was a neat idea. I own 3 PlayStation 3s. As I've mentioned in one of these videos, I own 9 PS3 controllers. There are 3 versions of this game on PlayStation 3, 3 regional versions with their own trophy lists, and they are the same. If it was possible to have all 3 of my PS3s somehow hooked up to one controller, I could play all 3 versions at once and platinum all 3 at once. Now, there's, sync issues. All 3 of my PS3s are different models. I have a launch PS3, a CECH-A01. I have another fat model unit that is after they've stripped stuff out. Well, the CECH-K01 unit. And I have the first generation Slim, the CECH-2001A, I believe is what it's titled. There's going to be slight differences in performance, I'm sure, down to the millisecond, which is all that's needed to break out of sync with things. And then on top of that, there's random drops and stuff, right? And what if I somehow die in one version of the game and the others are fine? And how do I... So logistically, I don't think it would actually hold up, but it was a fun idea. We will at least platinum the North American version of this game on this channel at some point. The other versions, who knows? Okay. Next up on the list is Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah, it's the other game that was in this collection. I know, big reveal, you didn't know. It was actually when I was doing this earlier, it's because I was hiding Shadow of the Colossus, and I was hiding. Shadow of the Colossus is the better game of the 2 of these. Big shocker, whatever. It's the later of the 2 PlayStation 2 titles by this studio, and it's a really good game. The reason why I'm very adamant that I must platinum this version, because there is the Bluepoint remake of it on PS4. This was actually also done by Bluepoint. Rest in peace. And actually, it says that right on the back, all the way in that corner over there, above the Blu-ray logo. It says it said Bluepoint. Jim Ryan sucks, man. I blame him for a lot of stuff. Anyway, what is interesting about the PlayStation 3 version of Shadow of the Colossus is they somehow, inadvertently, perhaps in the attempt to increase the resolution and the frame rate of the game, or improve upon the performance of it, being in widescreen, all of that technical stuff that they were doing, because they weren't like changing the art style or anything like that. It was just putting in HD. But somehow in the conversion of this game onto PlayStation 3, they've messed up the physics a little bit. To the point where climbing the large creatures in this game, the Colossi, is slightly more difficult, but rears its head much more when you do the time attack stuff. After you beat the game, you get to do a time attack run, normal or hard, just on the guys themselves. And from what I have come to understand, hard mode time attack, some of those Colossi bosses, it is literally a coin flip. If maybe coin flip is too generous, maybe that implies a high percentage, 50% win rate is success rate is, it might be too high. But it is you have to be really, really good and also lucky in order to do it, because one of those things can fling you in a way, or you'll run out of stamina in ways that you wouldn't normally on the PlayStation 2 version, which I actually need to get a copy of that game on PS2. I don't own a PS2 copy. This is the first way I've played either of these two games. So Shadow of the Colossus on PlayStation 3. I'm pretty adamant that I also want to do this game, Shadow of the Colossus, on this channel. Because I think the absurdity of it being like slightly impossible, some of your runs might be actually impossible to do. I think that aspect is interesting, and I want to do it. All right. Our penultimate game, number 2. Oh, I wasn't numbering these. This is number 2. I'm sure there was numbers up here. This is number 2. This is a game and a franchise that I really love, but I've never played the original PS3 version. It is Nier, N-I-E-R, Nier. Yes, the Japanese version, Nier Replicant, has its own trophy stack, and I would want to do that one. I had first heard of this game on the first ever podcast I was listening to. It's like 2009, maybe early 2010, and I had an iPhone. I was spoiled. I had an iPhone, and there are podcasts on there, and cool, and iTunes and all that. But I didn't really know what I wanted to look for, so I would just use the search tool on iTunes to find podcasts based on things I liked. And I would just, instead of typing in video games, I typed in Kingdom Hearts and Zelda. And I found a Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy podcast, which I believe is no longer actively running. And I cannot find the episode in which this game gets offhanded mentioned, because this was in the lead up to Final Fantasy 13, and this game came out either slightly before or slightly after that title. And they were talking about how the game is, if I remember correctly, and I don't want to put words in people's mouths, they were talking about how the game was not good at all, but the music was beautiful. And I remembered that aspect of it. The fact that the music was really good, but the game itself, not so much. And when Nier Automata got announced, I was like, oh, that's that game that has the really good music. But I hadn't even seen what this looked like at the time. I just had never really thought about it since. That's that game that has the really good music. Okay. And then that was it. And then Nier Automata ended up becoming one of the best games I've ever played. The best story in any video game I've ever played. It's an actual real adult story, or story for adults, in the sense that it's not treating you like a child. It knows that you know how to interpret stories. You have literacy above that of a grade schooler. And I really, really loved that game. I would go on to when they did the remaster, re-release, remake, whatever of this game, I guess of Nier Replicant more specifically. When they remade Nier Replicant on PS4, after the PS5 came out, which really bothered me, I platinumed that game. And I think I can still use, because I haven't actually booted this up to play this version yet, I think I can still use the spreadsheet I had made and started for all of the material collecting and stuff for that version in this one. So I don't know if this will ever be on the channel, but yeah, this is absolutely a game I 100% must platinum. Period. I will die unhappy if I don't platinum this game. And lastly, number 1. I already kind of mentioned this game, actually, when I talked about all of the Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, and Metal Gear Solid games that I'm doing here, but this one especially, out of all of those, I'll even pretend that I never platinumed any of the games in those 3 series at all. and I had to pick one of the PlayStation 3 titles from each of these or from all three of these to be the one that I absolutely must platinum, it is without a doubt Metal Gear Solid 4. This copy is actually sealed. I have a greatest hits version that is open that I'm using as the actual disc, but this game is my favorite Metal Gear Solid. On a personal level, it's not the best one. Metal Gear Solid 3 is the best PlayStation 2 game of all time and top 5 video game period. Metal Gear Solid 3. But I absolutely loved this game when I was first playing through the series and got to this one. Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, was, without a doubt, completely deserving of all of the hype, of all of the spectacle, of all of the drama that it presented. And where people like to talk about Metal Gear Solid 3 as a game in response to people's complaints about Metal Gear Solid 2. We're playing as this other guy, and I want to play as Snake, and it's got so weird about all of the stuff. I want it simpler. I want it more like Metal Gear Solid 1, blah, blah, blah. In hindsight now, we all know Metal Gear Solid 2 is one of the greats, and it is a fantastic story. And it is a spectacular video game. But if Metal Gear Solid 3 was a response to all that stuff, Metal Gear Solid 4 is a response to Metal Gear Solid 3. And all the people being like, yeah, but okay, this story, this is really nice and great and all, but like, where are all of the loose ends that Metal Gear Solid 2 left? Where are the Patriots? Where are the Patriots and what's going on? And I want answers for how this and that and blah, blah, blah. And what I love that this game does, and I think this is intentional, because I think a lot of the brilliance in the Metal Gear Solid series that people attribute to Kojima and Kojima's decisions, I think a lot of the brilliance in this series is unintentional. It's still awesome, but I don't think Kojima intended for a lot of the aspects that when people really talk about the postmodernism of Metal Gear Solid 2 or some of the narrative and gameplay melding of Metal Gear Solid 3 and how perfect that game is. I don't think a lot of that was intentional. I think he intended on obviously making a good game and having deep themes and all that stuff in his titles, but I don't think those were intended. All of the things that people really like to talk about, but that's not taking credit away from him or his team. His team needs to be given credit at all, which people fail to do sometimes. One thing I think is intentional is part of the brilliance of this game, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, is that people went in wanting answers. And ultimately, you're telling a story. Some answers you do want to tell. You were planning on saying, you were excited to reveal, right? There's a thing about fandom where fans obsess over every single detail. They obsess over every single thing. They will tell you when you've made a mistake, you've made a retcon, when something doesn't make any sense. And they do it because they care. These fans obviously really care about the thing. But I believe that, and I think this is intentional, this is an intentional brilliance on Kojima, that he was a little overwhelmed and a little put upon by fans insisting on having everything answered, because again, this was supposed to be the final game. Said that before, and as far as he is concerned, he has already had his final game a decade ago. And a lot of things I don't think were planned to have answers, but because you dudes, you people out there, you fans, wanted answers, he is going to give you the answers for everything. Even the things that you did not want answers for or didn't think to have answers for, our epilogue is going to be an hour long, and it is going to drive home every single minute thing in it, top to bottom, until you are exhausted by the thing you wanted, answers. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's a fantastic video game. It's not without, some faults. I think people like to talk about the series as being a lot of cutscenes and there's just so many cutscenes, so much story, blah blah blah, and A lot of games also have cutscenes and story, but Metal Gear Solid has the most in terms of what popular opinion might tell you. And unlike all of the other Metal Gear Solid games, this game feels that the most, unfortunately. Now, I love all of the cutscenes. I love how many there are. I love how much story we get in this series, in each individual title, including this one. However, the difference is there's a lot of game in the Metal Gear Solid series as well. The replayability of all of these titles, sans Metal Gear Solid 5, is astounding. There's so many ways to replay them because they're not super long, especially if you're skipping the cutscenes. You can just barrel through them and play them differently nearly every single time and find and discover new ways to play them. And so the ratio of gameplay and cutscene in all of the games feels good despite having a lot of cutscene because there's a lot of game there as well. However, in this title, that ratio is heavily leaning towards cutscene. You do not get nearly as many opportunities to do all of the weird things it presents. Besides the one instance in which it's kind of like, hey, you can roll in a barrel right here. Hey, you can crawl in the extremely slow motion in a way that actually benefits you in this one spot. It's a potpourri of so many different gameplay ideas, and it's the most kind of, I don't want to say on rails, but it's the most tourist of the games. Where yes, I mean it's not all in one location, so therefore they're doing this chapter based thing, and this chapter is about tailing a guy for the most part, and then it's hey, remember the ending of Metal Gear Solid 3, the bike chase scene? We're doing it again. Hey, in this one, it's all about revisiting this one location, and then you're in the mech, you're in the Metal Gear at the end, and all of these. And all of that does, unfortunately, lead to not a whole lot of replayability experimentation unless you take advantage of the moments themselves to do the thing. Unfortunately. But that being said, there is still a lot of cool stuff in there. If you want to mess around with the emotion bullets and just mess around, you can do that. As far as the trophy list goes, minimum 8 playthroughs, including one which I am dreading, where on the hardest difficulty, you can't ever get seen, can't ever kill anyone. There's a lot you can't do, and you need to do it under 5 hours, which means you need to skip the cutscenes because there's more than 5 hours of cutscenes alone, and they add in to your game time, which I always find very funny. I always find that very, very funny. I am most of the way done through this platinum before I stopped and kind of started to plan out this my trophy hunting stream series, but like I said, I have to find a way to figure out how I want to do these games on content here on the channel because they're all really long and not a lot of them make good streams if I'm just kind of grinding over and over again. I digress. That's been my top 10 plus a bonus 11th game I must platinum before the PlayStation 3 shuts down. I am curious because these aren't the only games that I want to platinum, and I've platinumed a lot of games that would maybe even be on this list, to be fair. But I'm curious what other people consider games that they need to platinum before these servers shut down. What is your top list? I know it's a call to action that everyone is going to do the thing I just did, but are any of my games universally considered a game like, oh yeah, no, I got to platinum that game? If the PlayStation blog announced today, hey, in a year we are shutting the PlayStation 3 down completely. You can play offline. You will not be able to sync to servers, no trophies, no nothing. If that day were to happen, I will be playing all 11 of these for an entire year until they are done. And I want to know what you think as well. Let me know in the comments below. Like this video if you like. And please subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. There are plenty of more PlayStation 3 stuff along the way. Every Friday I'm playing through an early PS3 game. None of the games on this list are in that. There's a second pile over here. I will give a spoiler. If this came out at the end of June like I promised, then Virtua Tennis 3, hey, that's the next one. I already edited that one, and it's good to go. That's the next one. And I'll see you then. I'll see you there. I'll see you next time. And I'll see you later. And goodbye. And outro.